We are live. What is good, my ninjas? Day 11, streaming every day this month. All right. I want to create a quick guide, pretty much a catalog for my Asian brothers. All right. To get up to speed with their dating and relationship life. Because there's a lot of information out there. Some of it is contradictory. So let's try to iron out these details here. All right. And let's have this conversation because look, it gets confusing and I know it's hard for you guys to decipher, what information is good and what's not. Just listen, I wouldn't say anything that I personally wouldn't do myself. All right. So gear up, buckle up, take notes. All right. We're going to dive in. And if you guys don't know who I am yet, if it's your first time here, welcome. My name is Rob Based. I'm an author, content creator, dating and relationship coach for Asian men. I started out helping divorced fathers, but look, I'm switching it up now because it's tough out there. I think Asian guys have it the hardest out here, and we need to change some of that up. All right. It's definitely a lot better now than it was before because I think a lot of people have opened up to dating Asian guys here in the West because it wasn't that common back in my day, I'll tell you that. But there is hope. I want you guys to know that even though it is bad out there, you still have it better now than you did before. Okay. So stay positive. Let's learn some game and let's crush it out here in the sexual marketplace. All right. With that being said, let's get into today's stream, and we're going to be outlining, the differences between Eastern masculinity and Western masculinity because I know a lot of guys struggle with this, and they're going to be continuing to struggle with it if they can't figure out the differences because there are some nuances in here that are worth noting. Okay. And look, you're going to be pressured by society. You're going to be pressured by women, your friends, your family to be more of a quote unquote man. Okay. So, whatever that means. But we're going to break it down and let's talk about it. Okay. In the West, especially recently, hold on. Let me just take a sip of my water. I'm really parched right now. In the West, especially recently, you'll hear people say that it's okay for men to express their emotions. You'll hear women cry, "Oh, vulnerability is sexy," and so on. And you'll often see men cry openly on camera these days. All right, and they have more self-expression. All right, because it's definitely less stigmatized here in the West. Whereas in Eastern culture, we are more practicing stoicism, emotional restraint, because those are viewed as signs of strength. Okay. I would say men in the East tend to display less emotion and they have more constraint when it comes to these things. Okay. In my opinion, I stick to my Eastern roots. And I think that this is definitely the way to go with a little bit of a caveat. Okay. You can hold it in, but I think you need healthy avenues to release the pent up anger or sadness. Okay. So don't go and complain to your girl. Don't open up and be extremely vulnerable to her because I'm going to tell you, she'll put up with it for a little bit, but she's not being turned on by that. Okay. So this is the caveat. You can hold it in, but you need healthy avenues. All right. So having a group of guys around you that understand this concept so that you can be open and vulnerable to them because yeah, you're going to get roasted, but you have to understand it's all love at the end of the day. Okay. Your brothers, your good friends are there to go through all the good times with you, but also the bad times. All right. And if they are good friends, they'll understand. All right. Now we got the emotion side kind of figured out, right? But also we have to think about all of the chemical reactions that are happening in our body as well too, right? When cortisol and things like that are released, it takes a toll on our body. All right. Physically, I mean. Okay. So this is why I always say to guys, like, you need to be working out. You need to go and be active, play sports, right? Because it's so important that you combat these things like cortisol and all these other hormones that aren't good for your body. And fill it up with things like serotonin and dopamine, and get that good balance so that you're not, you know, mentally ill, let's just say. All right. So balance it out, okay? And have a good set of guys that you can go to when shit actually hits the fan, all right? Cuz when you start getting all emotional in public or around others, let's say, you become unpredictable, all right? And it's almost like a ticking time bomb, and you think it's okay to lash out on people cuz you've been told it's healthy to express your emotions. Look, not only is your girl gonna lose respect for you, but the guys around you, they will too. Okay. They fear that one day you're gonna snap and you're gonna take it out on them. Okay. And you actually end up pushing people away without even realizing it. Okay. So deal with your emotions healthily. Don't show that side to your girl, no matter how many times she says it's sexy or whatever, right? Don't let her see that side of you. So now we got that out of the way. Another thing Western masculinity does is it teaches you to be more independent and self reliant, which isn't a bad thing on the surface. But when it takes precedence over things like respecting your elders, prioritizing your family, and just having a respect for the Asian community in general, they will start to associate you with that whole internalized racism thing, right? Because you're just more focused on yourself. You're like, who cares about all this other shit? Let me just focus on me and me, 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 me. Well, in Eastern culture, okay, we put the family first, no matter what. And I think it's sad to see a lot of guys put that aside for their own personal gain. All right. This is definitely one of those touchy and complicated subjects because look, I know Asian families go through it too. They suffer from divorce, and it just misconstrues the idea of family, and a lot of kids just tend to not value family as much, which I totally freaking understand. All right, but at the end of the day, that's who's going to be there for you when the shit hits the fan, okay? Not your friends, it's your family. All right? So, respecting your roots, your traditions, your heritage, all right? Things of that nature, and everything that took you to everything that it took to get you to this point is super important, okay? And it shouldn't take precedence over your own independence. All right? As an Asian guy growing up in the West, you have to work extremely hard to balance these two things. Otherwise, you're just going to hate yourself, and that's not a healthy thing. Trust me, believe me, I battled with this my whole entire life. All right? So let's get that straight. Another stark difference between Eastern and Western masculinity is the physical and strength aspects, okay? Look, Bruce Lee was a great example of how to mix both Eastern and Western philosophy to arguably become one of the baddest motherfuckers on the planet, all right? The West focused on brute, rugged strength, like building muscles and being extremely strong and powerful, right? Like think about, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the Eastern philosophy behind like the idea behind Eastern philosophy was more like internal and mental, right? Like think of like the Buddhist monks. And so practicing composure in the face of adversity was seen more important than brute strength. Okay. So things like meditation, being balanced is something I would say represent Eastern men more. Okay. And for me, it's a toss up. I think we should be both, right? This is where taking the best of each culture is a W, in my opinion. Okay. So when Bruce is like, be like water, right? But with a caveat, also be fucking strong. All right. Learn how to fight. I remember a lot of guys, they wouldn't want to mess with Asians because they think we all know kung fu and shit. Well, I think that's a stereotype I can get behind. There's nothing wrong with being both a badass in the ring and the gym. All right. So definitely get to it, boys. Um, Now, when it comes to romantic relationships and gender roles, I mean, you'll see a lot of the Western ideals, right? The gender roles are kind of like blurred, right? They're a little bit more fluid with how they view what men should do within that relationship. And I guess they're more encouraged to be more egalitarian and have like a deep emotional connection, the five love languages and all that other shit. Whereas in the Eastern culture, it emphasizes that the man should be the protector, the provider, the head of the household. They're expected to be more dominant and, being the breadwinner of the family and so on. And I have a lot to say about this, as you'll notice that there's this underlying theme all throughout my streams. And it's because I preach this and I truly believe in it. And I'm going to stand 10 toes down when it comes to this shit. All right. I think men need to be the leaders, women need to be the supporters. Men should be expected to make most of the decisions when it comes to things like finances and so on. And women should be in charge of the homemaking and raising children. Oh, Rob, you're such a misogynist and blah, 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 blah. Look, I'll let people call me whatever, but they're not going to change the way I view relationships. All right. I told you guys from every stream pretty much that I started out helping divorced dads. All right. Thousands of them. All right. And if you knew the things that I would hear from the stories that they say, you would probably stand with me on this as well. All right. Look, 75% of women initiate the divorce, which means they're super unhappy, whatever that means, or unsatisfied, whatever that means, when it comes to being married here in the West. If Western masculinity encourages guys to be more expressive, to be more emotive, and so on, don't you think that that is what's maybe causing a little bit of a rift, and it's causing these women to the brink of their insanity? I mean, could they secretly be hating the fact that there's these blurred lines and they can't tell a man to man up anymore? Because all the conversations that I have with women now, they're all like, where are the good men at? And like all the single women are all like, yeah, I want a man to lead. I want a man to do this. I want a man to, you know, be dominant. But we've blurred the lines in the West. All right. Things are very fluid now. Right. So I think these women are also quick to leave their families, which, in my opinion, indicates like a huge rise in narcissism. Women have also adopted these masculine roles. And I think it's causing them to not want to put their families first. Okay. Look, I hear from my Asian friends all the time, like whose parents are still together. And you know what they say to me? Like, their dad usually calls the shots. If there's problems, they stick it out for the kids, right? There's this big focus on the family. Okay. And I would say these relationships, these marriages tend to last because of this. All right. Oh, but Rob, you don't know how many unhappy women there are that are afraid to speak up and blah, 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 blah. Look, I don't fucking care. Okay. When it comes to being on your deathbed, it's not about your happiness and your trips to going to Bali and, the Dior and the Chanel purses, right? It's about your family, who you love. Okay. That's what you're going to care about when you're on your deathbed and taking your last breath. You're not going to ask for your Chanel purses to come into the room. You're going to want your daughters, your son, your husband, your family to be there with you. And I think people got all their priorities messed up out here. All right. This is causing severe mental illness and just people dying earlier than they should be. All right. So the reason why, and this has been proven in studies as well, the reason why people live to old age is because they want to stay alive for as long as they can because of the relationships around them. All right. But not here, right? People are so quick to just throw it all away because I'm unhappy, right? I have to make everyone suffer because I'm going to put my emotions before everyone else, which I think is a big crock of shit. All right. So fuck all that noise. Eastern views on family and gender roles, they got it right. And I'm sticking to that. Okay. So find a girl who also believes in this and ride with her till the end. Okay. Because these Western chicks aren't having it. They would rather prioritize their girls' trips to Vegas, going out clubbing, than raising children and setting them up for success. All right. People think the patriarchy has fucked them over. I would argue we don't even have a patriarchy no more. All right. Women have taken over. And you can see this mess that we live in right now. You just got to open your fucking eyes. All right. We live in a feminine primary social order. This is why there's such a breakdown in marriage, families, and relationships right now. Okay. Because we are doing it all wrong out here. All right. And it's because everyone is prioritizing themselves. Right. We have influences out here promoting that garbage and think that it's okay to throw away your whole entire family because of how you feel. Fuck your feelings. All right. Learn to see the holes in society, boys. I can't stress this enough. Look at how feminized the men have become. All right. They're literally worshiping these OnlyFans chicks and promoting this thottery. Okay. Simps need to be destroyed. They ruin it for all of us. Okay. All right. Ninjas, before I have a brain aneurysm, I'm going to end the stream right here. I've given you guys a lot to think about. And look, if you guys get value out of the stream, just hit the like button on the way out. All right. I would appreciate it way more if you would subscribe because it really does help the channel out. I want to get this out to as many of you guys as I can. All right. So we can battle this shit together. You're not alone. You have me and you have this fucking army I'm about to build. All right. So we can do this shit together. All right, ninjas. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same channel. Rob Bass signing off. Peace.